Guys, what's going on? You are listening to TWIG, the flagship of stupidity. I'm your host, Mike, the Birdman Dog, but I'm not alone as we recover from the past weekend in San Diego. I'm joined by the man in Kitchener himself,
Alex, who is tired from being up till 9 a.m. playing Marvel.
It has definitely been one of those weekends where sleep has been at a premium, especially if you've been following any of the big blogger sites or YouTube videos coming out of San Diego this weekend, which will be the primary focus of our news this weekend. So forgive us if we don't touch on every story. We're definitely going to try. Marvel being a huge story that we're going to end up talking about. And it's been a weekend, but it has been a good weekend. I actually took some time to clear out some of my video game backlog as you were playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. I went back and have you ever played a video game where you're so far in it, but if you try and go back, you don't know what the hell you've done? So you have to restart it?
There's a couple times, the main one being The Witcher 3. I still not beat it because I got about 20% through. And then I got bored, and then I felt guilty that I was bored of the game that everybody loved. And then I still haven't completed. I own the complete edition. I still probably will never beat it. That and Lost Odyssey, the attempt to be a Final Fantasy killer on the 360. I got to the very end of the game, like literally the second last battle, and got stuck where I saved and then I couldn't go back and I wasn't leveled enough and I was like, oh well shit, I'm in a battle I can't beat. And then I left it for like 5 years and then I got it again, actually probably like 6 years. And then I got it as one of those backwards compatible downloads.
Yeah.
Installed it and I'm like, where am I? Oh yeah, I'll beat that. Where am I? Oh shit, I'm at the spot I can't beat. And I was like, well, that was $8 down the tube because I'm not starting that game again.
This past weekend I was playing the Dragon Ball Z Fighter game, Dragon Ball Fighters, or however the hell you pronounce it. I was halfway through the game, but I've forgotten how to play the game, like even basic moves. Like I couldn't remember any of my combos, couldn't remember any of the basic, like how to charge your ki, how to vanish and all that shit. So I went into the data, wiped everything, went into the cloud, killed everything. And I'm like, okay. Start from scratch. I'm going to do all the tutorials again. I'm going to train up. I'm going to be goddamn Goku. And I'm going through it right now. Having a real blast with it, actually. So that was kind of nice to clear that out of my backlog. Thought about picking up Marvel Ultimate Alliance as you're playing it. I'll probably wait till your review of it comes out before I make up my mind.
I'm just going to tell you right now because I didn't get a review copy. I bought it myself. Let me think here. How much have I played? I've played probably 14 hours in the last day, maybe.
So you should be done it by now. I think it's only like a 10-hour game.
Yeah, and then part of that is walking away from it, falling asleep, and all that. I played until 9:30 in the morning and went, "Oh my god, I should go to bed." So I have had a good time with it. I would say I'm at the probably last level, if not like the last main level, and there's probably going to be like a boss rush or whatever. That's sort of what I'm in right now. Mm-hmm. It is, in my mind, better than the original two. It's not made by the same developers at all. A couple gripes. Basically, I love the gameplay. I like the story. A couple gripes, and they're all sound based. One, the game is only in stereo. This is a game where you need to be able to hear things happening all around you, and it's only in stereo. Weird. Second, the game is extremely quiet. No matter how loud you turn it in the game, you have to have your speakers cranked or your headphones cranked to the point where you hear hissing. I think they just made a mistake and didn't turn the volume up internally. Like it says that it's at 100% volume, but it's really at like 30% or something. That can be patched in just to boost the volume. Third, the voice acting is terrible.
Oh, that's a disappointment.
It's like 3 or 4 actors doing the voices for everybody, and it's like mid 90s level Capcom bad voice acting.
That's unfortunate too, because you'd think with like Team Ninja, they'd have enough resources to get people who are representative of the Marvel universe right now.
You think Marvel or Disney would pay for it, but it doesn't really matter. Like, here's the problem. It doesn't sound as good as a cartoon show. Like, I figured they would use like the voice actors from the cartoons, and they might have. And if that's the case, then this is just a case of bad voice direction.
Yeah.
That being said, that doesn't really matter. It's about the gameplay. They brought back the RPG elements that were missing from the second game. So there's equipables and things you can upgrade, and there's skill trees and all that sort of junk. Super fun. Works like a dream playing it docked mode. I would recommend it. I do not think it's worth $80. I think it's a $50 game, like Canadian, so 30 American, 39, whatever.
So wait for a sale, basically. Wait
till it drops $20. Because I got it during the crazy E3 deals that they had, or I pre-ordered it for basically 60% of the retail price, and I'm going to get that much money, if not more, for trading it in when I'm done. I am not going to be buying the season's pass for that, because I'm not spending 25 Canadian for content that comes out over the course of a year. By the time that content all comes out,
trade value's gone.
Trade value's gone. I can buy the game for $10.
Yeah, that's true.
So, maybe not because it's published by Nintendo this time. So it'll be a little different, but I don't think I'm going to need to have the other characters, because the X-Men are all in this. It's just to get extra X-Men characters.
Yeah.
I've basically been playing as Wolverine since the beginning, because you get Wolverine at the start. And I've been leveling him up like crazy. So he's level 56 and everybody else is level 30 or less. So I'm just like, just fucking everybody up. There's skill-based stuff in there that's pretty cool. But I won't go into too much details. Basically, it is a super fun game. It's just not worth full retail.
Well, there you have it, folks. Your little concise review from us here at This Week in Geek. So coming up in this week's show, got a lot of news to cover out of San Diego Comic-Con. We'll try and touch on as much as we possibly can. The weird news, what we have coming this week in terms of reviews from myself, we're going to be taking a look first up at the Philips Hue Play Smart Lighting System, brought to us by Philips. We're also going to take a look at Warner Brothers Home Entertainment's release of Shazam on 4K HD Ultra. And Alex, what do you have for us this week?
I have a headset from LucidSound. It's the LS41, which is a 7.1 virtual surround headset. It's one of the, not the top tier, but think in the pricing range that you have like a Turtle Beach. So
good stuff.
In enthusiast level.
All right, then. So that's what we'll be taking a look at here on This Week in Geek. So without any further ado, here is my review of the Philips Hue Play lighting system. We'll be back only on This Week in Geek. Otherwise, on this TWIG, the flagship of stupidity. I've been Mike the Birdman Dodd, joined with Alex the producer. We'll be back right after this. Hey guys, Mike the Birdman Dodd here, and I'm here to talk to you about a really cool product I got for review recently. And this is the Philips Hue Play lighting system. And this is more meant for integration into your smart homes, be it Alexa or Google. And it's kind of cool. So what they sent me was the Philips Bridge, which allows you to connect up to 50 lights. This thing retails for about $60 Canadian. And they also sent me a single light, which retails for about $90. You can connect up to 50 of these things via one bridge. And it's incredibly bright on maximum settings, let me tell you. I'm pretty sure you can flag down airplanes with this thing. But anyway, so you set this up, and you can control it via smart app on your phone, which also means you can connect it to your Google Home system, and you can control it with your voice as well, like tell it go up, down, etc. Some of the apps that you can use with this thing are kind of cool. You can do different animations or different lifestyles with them, but a lot of these apps seem to be subscription-based. Not a huge fan of that, but in the app itself, in the base app, you can program it to do routines, what time it turns on, what time it turns off, where it's set up, be it like a bedroom, a gaming setup, stuff like that. One of the things that I use it with, because I have this hooked up to my PC via the app that's available there, you can have it interact with your media. I primarily use it with my Spotify, and it interacts with the music, creating different types of light shows for you. It cycles through a few different ones, though I think you can program your own as well. However, it can also interact with gaming setups, which I know a lot of Twitch and YouTube streamers have very similar light setups where their lighting will change to the game that they're playing. So whether you're playing, say, Rainbow Six, Battletech, or whatever, it's going to react to what's happening in the game if you have it set up that way. Not much of a PC gamer, but I did use a lot of it with Spotify, and it was really, really cool looking, especially because I listened to a lot of 80s music, so it was kind of neat having Def Leppard's Foolin' with a light show. I did really enjoy that. So you're going to be asking me, Mike, is this thing worth it? I like it. Although, if I did have one complaint about it, I don't like how the Philips HuePlay bridge has to be connected to the router. I don't like how it's not a standalone wireless product that you could put somewhere else in the house. But the fact that it does connect directly to the router doesn't mean you have to fool around with anything like passwords or settings. You basically just press the button on the top of it and it works right away, syncing it up with your lights and the app that you download. So setup is remarkably easy. If I did have one complaint, it's the fact that it's a direct connect to the router as it takes up a port. Other than that, I like how flexible it is. I like the fact that there are a ton of apps for it. Not much of a fan of the pricing model of a lot of the apps though, but the app included does do everything that you need it to do. And if you're willing to customize it, you could create some really cool lighting and atmospheres in your apartment for your gaming setup or your Twitch stream or however you choose to use this thing. So the Philips HuePlay system definitely gets a thumbs up from us here at This Week in Geek. Need a new weapon in your battle against evil? Check out LibrisArcana.com for Canada's premier RPG dice subscription service. For only $7.97 Canadian with free shipping. You can get a new complete set of role-playing dice from D4s to D20s delivered straight to your door. Dice themes are new each month and can be anything your mind can imagine and beyond. Visit LibrisArcana.com and subscribe for only $7.97 Canadian with free shipping, and be prepared to open up new worlds of adventure.
News on the march!
And welcome back to TWIG. I'm, of course, your lead host, Mike the Birdman Dodd. And, of course, I'm joined with Alex, the producer. And, of course, we're here to bring you the news that happened around the world this week that shall be forever etched into the walls of history. And we're going to start this news on a rather serious note. As we do celebrate geek culture on this show, sometimes we have to tell you things that are unpleasant, not necessarily the most fun things to talk about. So we're going to start things off seriously and talk about a serious story that happened over in Japan this past weekend. And I'm going to let Alex take this one because he's the one who actually found this story this week.
Yeah, basically I woke up and my daily routine is I wake up in the morning, I pull up my local news site on my phone, see what's going on, check the weather. And there was breaking news that an animation studio in Japan had been attacked, and at the time they weren't sure if it was a terrorist attack initially because it was just happening, but what it turned out to be was Kyoto Animation was set ablaze by I wouldn't say fan, originally they said fan, but set ablaze by someone who was mentally ill, stating that they had stolen his story ideas for one of their animes, and he was seen with gas canisters lighting the entranceways on fire, screaming, "Die, die, die," over and over again. And what ended up happening was, due to fume inhalation, people couldn't get to the emergency exits fast enough. 34 people have died so far in that studio. There's still people that are injured. It affected, there's over 60 people in there. And it's now reported by Variety.com. The most updated information is that the suspect is still too injured to be questioned because he burned himself while it happened. But it was people passing by that heard him, screaming all this stuff. And it people thought at first, it's a disgruntled employee because that's what usually happens, like the going postal sort of thing. Mm-hmm. No, this was just some random guy that in his own world, in his brain, thought that they stole his idea. So he's like, I'm going to fucking kill everybody there. And
that takes a level of commitment that
pure insanity.
see.
This is a case where if this was playing in I don't know how their laws are necessarily there, but in North America, this person depending on how they're ranting and raving, may not stand trial due to like mental illness.
Yeah, like mental incompetence,
like criminally insane sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows how it's going to go in Japan. Now, Japanese culture is very different from the culture in North America, and there is still a stigma with mental illness where it sometimes goes unaddressed because it's a culture of honor and shame. Mm-hmm. So it's shameful to show weakness or mental illness. So he might not have been diagnosed. I'm not going to try to butcher the guy's name. Plus, I don't think he needs to have any attention brought to him. But basically, he's in. It's a weird case. He's in the hospital right now, but they can't officially arrest him because he's too injured to receive the papers for the warrant saying that he's arrested. It's not like it is here, where you can be arrested while you're unconscious and basically be chained to the bed. Mm-hmm. So they just have to have somebody watching him so that he can't leave, but he's too injured to respond or anything yet. So other than the fact that this is a crazy, horrible thing, being that it's 34 people dead, it's also the largest mass killing in Japan since basically the Americans dropped the bomb in World War II.
Yeah, the only other thing I could think of where there was a mass attack in Japan was the sarin gas attacks in, I think, the 90s on the Japanese subway, which I think killed 13.
Yeah, it's like a third of what this has killed.
Mm-hmm.
And like this, basically, this Kyoto Animation, they're known for making a bunch of different anime series. I personally haven't seen any of them, but I've heard of some of them. You basically just, not only have you wiped out this entire studio, so they're basically gone. It's not just that; it's most of these animators and people working there were 35 and under. Like these are
just ordinary people going about their day.
Young people just starting their lives, families, young families, and it's like, and they're just gone, literally up in smoke. Over somebody saying, "You stole my idea I had in my head, so now you have to die." So
it's a tragedy, no matter which way.
It's going to open up discussion in Japan over how they treat the mentally ill. Because this is
it should.
Yeah, this is it says here 13 men, 20 women dead, making it the deadliest outbreak in Japan in basically modern history. So it's sad. Who knows what's going to happen? Hopefully this gets addressed. Hopefully they can find a way to address this so this sort of thing can't happen again.
Absolutely. I hope it opens up a conversation between the government and the population about mental health, how that's addressed in the general population. I hope it leads to more programs being available for people that can access it who need help.
Yeah, because the attitude of don't ask, don't tell, we know that doesn't work.
Yeah. But I guess there's no other way to say it is a tragedy. I hope justice is served, and I hope this serves as the beginning of a conversation to make things better for those who are left behind and for those who are seeking help now.
I'll tell you right now that if it was Studio Ghibli, they would have made changes to the laws already.
You're definitely not wrong.
It's one of those things where, like, in your mind, you may think, oh, it's a small animation studio. It's like, well, what if it was Disney?
Yeah.
What if somebody went, Dumbo was my idea. Dumbo was my idea. Fuck you, and then set Pixar on fire. That's how big it is. That's how big of a deal. Some people will think it's so far around the world they won't. They're like, oh, big deal. It happens all around the world. It's like, no, this sort of shit doesn't just fucking happen.
Yeah, this is the type of shit that gets made up in movies and in comic books. It's not something you think that actually happens. When bad things happen, like really terrible things, it's not that often.
Because remember, like, think about this. South Park and South Park Studios has been threatened how many times by ISIS and other members for what they've done and said, and violence still didn't happen. So threats are normal for studios that maybe push the boundaries of what's okay,
acceptable. Yeah,
but this is a studio that never did anything like that. They're just literally minding their own business, and then they're on fire. Yeah,
somebody decided to have it out for them. So
transition out of that motherfucker.
Well, like I said, hopefully this will open up a conversation between everybody affected and the governments and the people that have been left behind. So moving on to definitely happier news. Definitely this was a weekend to celebrate geek culture in a lot of ways. The annual San Diego Comic-Con happened, and a lot of big news came out of it. So let's get the elephant out of the room, out of the way first, and let's talk about Marvel. Marvel announced Phase 4, and obviously it was a huge deal that kicks off next year with the Black Widow movie, and then that will be followed by Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is a TV series premiering fall 2020.
So the Black Widow movie, as in the first movie, I won't go see.
That's the one I'm the most interested in. Because
she's a terrible actress?
No, the bad guy for me. It's Taskmaster. I'm so in.
Okay, shit. See, you had me with Scarlett Johansson, and I was like, no, never going to see it. And
plus, the guy who plays Hopper in Stranger Things plays Alexei, otherwise known as Red Guardian, who's the Russian answer to Captain America.
Okay, fine.
It's going to be cool.
Because am I the only one that looked at the slate of movies coming out and went meh for the most part?
Well, there were some on there. Like, I like how they're advertising Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness with Scarlet Witch as the first Marvel horror movie.
See,
PG-13 being said, but still.
Let's ignore that New Mutants ever existed.
Yeah, which if that ever gets released, I will be surprised.
Oh, it's Disney Plus, I guarantee you. They're not going to put that in theaters now.
Oh, God, no.
But they have to release it. You can't spend $150 million and not release a movie.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it'll be like an exclusive for Disney Plus, which would be an interesting way to promote the service, to say the least. Which I thought there'd be a lot more stuff coming out in Disney Plus this year in terms of the Marvel stuff, but I guess they're leading with The Mandalorian.
Did you look like there's nothing really else coming out Marvel-wise this year?
No, because Phase 3's done, so they want to have a cooling off.
You notice they're not listing Guardians. I thought Guardians was still coming out in this year.
Oh, no. They won't have Guardians until Phase 5. Though I wonder what Thor Love and Thunder is going to be.
But that doesn't make sense because they're already filming it.
I don't know. The Kevin Feige and all those at Marvel probably have an idea, something that we're definitely not privy to.
Because it wasn't listed in any of those for the next 2 years, even though it's the only one in production right now. Like it's actually filming.
I don't think it's actually filming because in production can mean a lot of different things. That can mean props being built. That can mean sets being designed. That can mean a lot of things.
Fair enough, because I mean, I guess
Eternals is starting soon.
Yeah, that's one
because Eternals has,
and Keanu Reeves announced he's part of that, right?
Not officially.
I thought he did an interview at SDCC about it. No, that he's been approached. That's right, and he's excited. He's excited to play if he gets it. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, so we'll find out more about the Eternals likely in the coming months. I think it starts filming rather soon as they're just getting together their cast. But for Phase 4, it goes. I'm gonna try and read this in order as best I can because it goes up and down, up and down.
Fair enough.
Black Widow. Then Falcon Winter Soldier, Eternals, Shang-Chi, Legends of the Ten Rings, which the lead actor is from Mississauga, so that's cool.
The only thing is, some of these, I'm not sure that they're going to do the kind of money they think they're going to do.
Yeah, and I'll get to that.
Because haven't they kind of mined all of the major characters now?
Not necessarily. Moving forward in the spring, we'll have WandaVision, which ties directly into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. Then Loki in spring 2021. What If, which is an animated series, which is having all the original actors coming back to reprise their voices, though they don't have Robert Downey Jr. listed and a few others, but don't be surprised. Hawkeye is second to last, which is him introducing the Kate Bishop character into the franchise.
Now,
and finally, Thor: Love and Thunder.
You see, now Hawkeye is another case where am I the only one that thought Jeremy Renner was kind of just a waste? Like that character was a waste for the most part.
I wish they did more with him because I'm a huge Hawkeye fan.
Well, I'm a fan of Jeremy Renner in general. Like I think he's a great actor, but to me, it's just like when he did the Bourne movie. It was like meh. It's like it's the writing for him has been kind of blah.
Yeah, the character is definitely under service, which I think the Hawkeye series, which is based upon a comic I haven't read, but introduces the new Hawkeye. Although I was watching a channel on YouTube today which posted a rather interesting theory. Each phase has an Avengers movie tied into it. Hawkeye is coming at the end of Phase 4, along with Thor: Love and Thunder.
Now,
so that will lead into the next Avengers series somehow, some way.
Now, I know, like, based on the logos of the different... Like, you can look at the logos of all those movies, and you can sort of see what they're drawing from comic book-wise.
Mm-hmm.
And the Hawkeye one is drawing from when they redid it, was about 3 or 4 years ago?
I don't remember
that run
the arc.
That run, I think, it was around the same time that DC did the New 52. And it was when they basically, remember when Marvel restarted everything at zero again? And then they forgot about that. Well, that run of Hawkeye, I picked up because it was one of the few like $3 comics. I was like, oh, I'll just try it out because I loved that purple and like the design of the arrows. Everything, it had a very like pop aesthetic from like the 50s. And that was a really good run. I read the first 6 or 7 issues, and I have a feeling that they might be adapting that run.
That's what it is. I think. All I know is it's the Kate Bishop introduction. That's all.
Okay, I think so. Then, if that's the case, then that'll be a good story, at least for his character. Like, I know that Hemsworth, I think, still has 3 or 4 pictures under his, like, in his contract.
Oh, yeah, like, I expect him to cameo wherever they can squeeze him in.
Yeah. What were the other titles again? Like the Winter Soldier one. It's not going to do well. It's going to be like a dud.
I really think you're wrong there.
That's the
because
TV
people
show, right?
love Sebastian Stan. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sam Wilson will be.
People are not going to watch it. People are probably going to pirate it. People are going to download it. They're going to watch it on YouTube. They're going to watch highlights. They're going to watch people talking about it. They're not going to really show. Yeah, I don't. Nobody wants to pay for a network for that show.
For $7 a month, I'm in. The
Mandalorian,
I'm in. Not yet.
It won't be because that content is tied up with other companies like Crave and that. So you're going to have to get it through somebody else.
Well, according to Disney, they expect to launch Disney Plus. It's not coming here in November of this year, which is expected to launch. It's expected to come sometime next year.
It all depends. I think
they're
going to partner with Crave, or they'll partner with Amazon or something up here, because that's how all the content's always been. Like, to those networks, the reason they don't work up here is you have to have Canadian ownership. That's part of the deal of what they did for all of our streaming networks. They have to have a certain amount of it, percentage has to be owned by a Canadian company.
CanCon, yeah.
Yeah. So unless they're going to move their headquarters to Canada or start a new subsidiary, I don't see it happening. But what I do see is Rogers wanting to get in on that because Bell owns Crave and Show Me died. But I would not be surprised if Rogers is like, hey, we've got that crazy cable money. How about we launch it with you?
I don't know. I really think you'll see it available up here.
It'll be like $12 or $14 a month though.
At that price point, I'm not so sure because I have Crave and I have Netflix. I used to have Hulu and I used to have a few other services.
Well, Hulu would have been from geo-blocked, so you wouldn't be able to really. What they're probably going to do is what Amazon Prime is doing now. If you're a Prime member, you can get Crave or any of those other services at a 20 or 30% discount, and it's all tied into one hub. Mm-hmm. So I could see them being like a channel, I'm saying in quotes, where it's, if you want to get it separate, it's $14.99 a month, or you can get it for $10 a month if it's part of another package you have somewhere else.
That's entirely possible.
So if that's the case, like let's say, hey, you have Crave. You remember how Crave launched Crave Plus now, where it has HBO and everything in it?
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably be something like that, where it's an add-on.
Probably.
Which again, we're going deep down in semantics. It'll be cool, but I just don't see that being a show that as a marquee show that people are really going to care about.
I think that's a really good idea to lead on because you're taking two.
Is it directly tied into the phase, or is this going to be another Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. bullshit?
No, everything here is canon, and it affects everything else.
Okay, so
that's why WandaVision ties directly into Doctor Strange.
Yeah, now WandaVision I find more interesting. I'm not as interested. Like I feel like they are not going to invest in it just like any of the characters, like the Daredevil, the ground-based characters they did on Netflix and all that. I don't know how much faith they have in those shows. It's like people are expecting super big powers, and if you're going to have a show that's more like a action show, I don't know if you're going to get people tuning in.
I don't know. I think the fact that you're leading with two very strong Avengers, they're the most post-Endgame Avengers you could possibly get outside of, say, War Machine. And these guys don't require a lot of special effects outside of Falcon flying and the arm for Winter Soldier. On it. Yeah, like I want good stories, I want good villains, and I want a continuity that follows through. Because they also have to write it in such a way for those viewers that haven't watched these 6 to 8 hours of television to come into the Marvel universe and still know what's going on when, say, Avengers 4 or 5 shows up.
And don't give me like a 2-hour movie that you now have to stretch out into 9 hours of programming.
Yeah. Now, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, because I have a feeling, I don't know, I have a feeling they're going to be adverse to spending money because they can see what the competition has done, like with Swamp Thing being canceled on, like basically DC's canceling everything because of budget constraints and because there's not enough subscribers. Now, maybe a different story because Disney's Disney and WB or Warner Brothers is Warner Brothers, but I could see them looking, well, we don't want to invest that much money, so let's stretch the plot as thin as we can, and that would actually doom the show.
I don't know. I myself have a lot of really high hopes for this. I mean, you can probably tell.
I hope it's good.
There are two of these projects I'm worried about. The Eternals, because nobody knows who the fuck they are. But that being said, Guardians. Right? Yeah, that's Jack Kirby and I can't remember who else. But it's a weird comic. But then again, at the same time,
if they get Keanu, it'll do well.
At the same time, everybody thought Guardians of the Galaxy was a stupid idea, and look how well that turned out.
It depends on the director and what they let them do.
Shang-Chi is another one I'm a little unsure of, because that movie is going to live and die by its action.
Isn't it just going to... That's the one I see the most being like Iron Fist. And I'd be like, oh, no.
Now, they can't touch the Iron Fist character for 2 years, so it's unfortunate they couldn't bring in Danny Rand into this, because that would be a cool way to introduce that idea of mysticism into the MCU, because Netflix, I love you, but you botched Iron Fist so badly.
Well, they botched pretty much everything. By the end of their runs, they botched everything except for Punisher. So
I disagree, because I thought Jessica Jones ended surprisingly well. And Daredevil ended on...
I fell asleep watching the second season.
The second season was bad. Third season was really good.
Okay, and I still haven't seen Luke Cage season, whatever, last one of that.
They were also good, too. Like, in my opinion, the Netflix shows were very uneven.
Yeah.
Punisher bored me. But I like John Bernthal. He made Punisher. That being said. But back to the story at hand. I think the What If animated series will be very well done. I've seen someone post a screenshot of the logo. It's like really, really zoomed in. There's a possibility of Marvel Zombies. If so, holy shit. That's definitely a half hour I'm tuning into.
When are we getting Howard the Duck the movie?
It wouldn't surprise me if we see that in Phase 5. Which some of the other projects that were announced were Blade. And the guy who's playing Blade is the guy who played Cottonmouth in Luke Cage Season 1. I can't begin to pronounce his name, but he was amazing as Cottonmouth.
No Wesley Snipes?
No Wesley Snipes, but it wouldn't surprise me if he gets a nod somehow.
No Triple H and Ryan Reynolds?
Triple H was in these movies?
Blade Trinity, he's the main bad guy.
Really? I don't remember that. It's been a number of years.
That's the movie where Blade just says fuck every 10 seconds instead of actually having good action.
Oh, yeah. Then randomly Ryan Reynolds is Hannibal something or other.
And they dance to Trip Hop, yo.
Oh, God.
It went way downhill after Del Toro left that second one.
Thor, Love and Thunder, I'm really looking forward to, because it was announced that Natalie Portman's coming back.
Which
she's going to...
I think it's cool. I think it's cool, except that she was kind of a bitch about the rest of the series before. So I think they backed up a bunch of money to her. Here's the thing. She's a good actress. I like her in some things. But she kind of was a cunt when it came to how she treated the rest of them and how she treated the franchise.
a little ungrateful, I would say, is how she treated it in the
biggest
press.
payday you've ever had in your life with there are more fans of this
Star Wars
than what you did in Star Wars. Not Star Wars in general, but with them than of your Star Wars movies. That's for sure.
Well, she only really did cool things, in my opinion. And to look at her acting as Padme, she only really shot a blaster in Star Wars Episode 2. She fought that monster. In Episode 3, she ran around barefoot and pregnant, and that sucked.
And then she got choked.
And then she got choked, and that broke her heart. That bothered me. But she's going to play the new female Thor.
What bothered you? Her acting or the fact that she got choked? Or you're like, that bitch deserved it? And you're like,
no, the fact that, like, really, you are the mother to these new babies, and that's what kills you? Come on. But no,
your children are super powerful, and then, but then you get choked out. You're like, oh, you're breaking my heart. Okay, I'm not even going to get into that because that was so fucked up. Anyway,
Anyways, she's going to play the new female Thor. I'm excited for that. They also announced this was a more subtle announcement, but the girl who plays Valkyrie, Tessa Thompson, was like, yeah, the character's going to be LGBTQ because she's the queen of Asgard. She must now find her queen. So maybe
cool.
Natalie Portman and Tessa Thompson. That's neat. That's cool because she is bisexual in the comics. So that's cool.
I'd watch that.
Yeah. I'm sorry to get a little gross, but at the same time, no, I want to see what the new female Thor's armor is going to look like. Because the costume designs for the Thor movies have always looked awesome.
Oh, yeah.
So if she gets that cool face mask, that's going to be bitchin'. Anyway, so that's the Marvel news inside of a nutshell. We ran on about that for a long time. This will be a brief hit. Okay. Avengers over the weekend, in current box office totals, has beat Avatar to become the biggest movie in history. Obviously, for non-adjusted dollars, as you've made your point on Twitter.
I'm ready to jump through the screen and strangle everybody because it's not. I don't even care if it is or not. What bugs me is that they just do that for the numbers. Like,
oh yeah, it looks good for optics.
Yeah, but you know what? Ticket prices are more than they were 10 years ago. Ticket prices are definitely more than they were 80 years ago. You know what I mean? Like, just very briefly go into it. Gone with the Wind has made $7 billion at the box office, and that was just North America. So if you do, the measure that you should be using is not dollars. It should be the amount of tickets sold.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise it doesn't equate. So it did, in today's money, $7 billion. We're talking 2.5 to 3 times what either of those films made. And that was at a time when if you adjust it was 25 cents a ticket. If you adjust that works out to about $4.50 now. So people were paying $4.50 and they saw it 2 to 3 times as much as the new movie. So I don't know why they're trying to say this is the highest grossing film of all time, because it's not. It's not even remotely close. It's the highest dollar value in current dollars. But that doesn't mean much when a ticket costs $15 now. You know what I mean? Like that's what bugs me is when they try to compare it. It's like apples and oranges. I'm glad that it beat, in quotes, Avatar, because that movie sucked. Unobtainium can kiss my ass. but yeah, James Cameron, you can suck my D. I don't care. That was terrible. It was cool for the technology they introduced, but it was a terrible movie. This cool, but I just felt like it was kind of just a way to get them to have a marketing push. Like, it doesn't matter, because like Gone with the Wind, they should release that film they could release that film today on video and say highest grossing film of all time, and it is. But they don't, because they don't need to. They don't need that push because it's a good movie. So
yeah, like this is mostly about optics. This is how it looks.
Because it's just purely isn't the highest grossing film. That's what bugs me.
Yeah, it's just marketing.
Yeah.
So that happened. So congratulations, Marvel. Yeah. We knew you were going to do it anyway.
Congrats. You kept your movie in theaters an extra 6 weeks.
Moving on.
Hope for that one guy in the States that was interviewed that saw the movie over 150 times or whatever it was.
Wonder how that guy's doing.
He has no girlfriend or boyfriend, I can tell you that much.
Maybe he has a nice cat. Moving on to our next.
He's dead because he's seen the movie. He's seen a 4-hour movie over 100 times.
It's not home to feed it. Moving on to my next story. This one I think is kind of cool. This one snuck up on me, surprisingly, how much they showed. The panel for Star Trek happened this weekend. They saw a lot of things, like you saw the Below Decks announced, which is the Star Trek animated series. Some stuff for Star Trek Discovery Season 3, which I still have to finish Season 2 at some point.
Yes, you do.
And Star Trek Picard showed off its first full-length trailer. There's a lot to break down.
I had to walk out of the room because I had to take that in chunks because my penis could only get so erect when the Picard stuff came on.
I had to watch the trailer several times, and I just read a really good breakdown of it, I think, on io9.com, and they did it by screenshot. And there is so much in that trailer that they cram in. Like, 7 of 9 is back. Cool. Yeah, Data's back. There. Cool.
Well, it's B4, right?
It may be a different Soong android.
Well, also, could it be just in his head?
No, it's really there.
It's legit. I know Jonathan Frakes confirmed that he's in an episode.
Yep. Same with Marina Sirtis is also confirmed. The guy that played 3 of 5, Hugh.
Oh, okay.
Hugh is in it.
Oh.
So that factors into it really coolly.
This is the series people wanted Discovery to be.
Yeah, they wanted it set in the prime timeline after the events of Star Trek 2009, after the destruction of Romulus.
And this doing that exactly. Like it's dealing with, this is now, we're approaching 20 years since Nemesis.
Yep.
And we're approaching 10 years since the event of Romulus gone.
So, and there's so much in the trailer. There's one scene where you see all these Romulan-type warbirds approaching a red planet. Is that Vulcan? We don't know. You see Borg. You see tons of Borg.
And that bitchin' ass Borg cube.
Yeah.
That looks like the best it's ever looked, which is surprising because I didn't think they could get better looking than in First Contact when they still made them as physical models.
And
they might have actually made a physical model and then just digitally lit it.
I could believe it. And if you go back at that shot, that Borg cube is surrounded by Romulan warbirds. So there's some plot going on with the Romulans and the Borg. Like, this woman comes to Captain Picard.
Are they going to try to time travel using the Borg?
I don't know, because it seems like, according to the article that I read, there's something going on between the Romulans and the Borg. Like, they're taking ex-Borg drones, taking all the technology. There's one scene, I don't know whether it was meant to be taken seriously or something, but in the trailer, there's like days without an assimilation incident. And it's like weird. Oh, wow. Like, there's so much to take in that
this looks much higher budget than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, same here. I thought it was going to be...
I think this is the pull to get the Trekkies back in, because there are, admittedly, probably my best guess would be 75% of hardcore Trekkies that do not like Discovery.
It's true, because people want the prime timeline. We want from the original series, TNG, DS9, Voyager, etc.
They don't want to feel like they're being insulted by changes made to the costumes. Like, here's the thing. Here's the kicker. If they show Klingons, please don't let it be the Klingons from the new show. I like Discovery. I really do. But please don't let it be those, because you'll
piss people off.
It's going to sound bad. I'm going to say it, though, because that's the kind of thing. If you make this a Prime Universe show and it's everything we want, but then you fuck it up by putting the Klingons in there that are like the bad Klingons that have like cotton in their mouth, that's how you get somebody to do a Kyoto animation thing to CBS. But those fans are that fervent and that they might do some shit. Like they were giving death threats at the new show to begin with. And they were already, when they announced the Picard show, they're saying, don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. And that could be the way to drive them away completely, is if you fuck up the Klingons. So if they're lucky, they just won't put Klingons in at all.
Yeah.
But that
there's a lot riding on this, because this is a return to Prime, which is what people have wanted for a decade.
This is how you get from, I don't know how many subscribers they have, but this is how you triple your subscriber base if this show is good.
Yeah, this hopefully will be as successful as we all want it to be.
Like, this will drive at least 1 million new subscribers. I guarantee it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's huge money for them, because if you get 1 million people spending $10 a month and the show runs for basically 2 months, you've paid your entire show back. And and then hopefully you keep them and retain them in perpetuity with other good content.
I want it to be good. I really do. And I would like to see Star Trek bring its fans together like it used to. Because the fan community has been...
It's been
not
pretty
great.
toxic. It's been pretty bad.
Yeah, it has not been great over the last couple of years. I mean,
all
despite what we...
aside, it is one of the most toxic environments. It's not quite as bad as...
Star Wars?
Yeah, Star Wars gets. But it gets pretty bad. Yeah,
it's just not fun to be a part of this fandom sometimes, and that's unfortunate to say, because we should be able to celebrate our fandoms and have fun with it, but that doesn't always seem to work out that way. And I have to burp. I'm sorry.
Ooh, nice one.
Yeah, that's Coke Zero coming up. So yeah, Captain Picard. Hopefully you don't suck. And my last story this week. This will be more for you, Alice, because you actually watch these shows. This may get me to watch it. Deadline is reporting, and I think it's since been confirmed, that Brandon Routh, the guy that played Superman in Superman Returns, will be playing the Man of Steel in the Arrowverse crossover Crisis on Infinite Earths this year, and he's playing the Kingdom Come version of Superman.
Okay, because... Sure.
I think that's cool. Like, if you've ever read Kingdom Come... Because
he's already in the shows.
Yeah, as the Atom.
This is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
He plays a very different type of character. It's too bad they couldn't get, like, Tom Welling or somebody in there, too, but... Because they had some people from Smallville in one of the episodes, in one of the crossovers, sort of in the background. Mm-hmm. But they didn't get any of the principal cast members. Well, one of them was just arrested for running a sex cult. So,
the girl that played Allison Mack,
because she won't be there because she's gonna be in prison.
Yeah, she's not getting out anytime soon.
Oh yeah,
it's unfortunate that had to happen to her. But
I would have joined that sex cult.
No, it's pretty abusive from what I've read. It's not a fun thing. Yeah, no.
It wasn't one of those fun, happy-go-lucky sex cults?
No, it wasn't the free love sex cult. It was very much, you sleep with this person or we'll destroy your life. It was very brutal.
Okay, yeah. So not exactly the kind of sex cult I would hope for.
Yeah, no, this is the one where you are cattle, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. Well, some people like that shit, I guess.
Yeah, I'm not into that. I'm getting the hell out of this, so we're going to take
dragging you down, buddy.
You really are. So we're going to take a break here, and here is my review of Shazam from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment. We'll be back right here on This Week in Geek, your flagship of stupidity. I've been Mike the Birdman Dodd with Alex, the producer, and his dark sense of humor. We'll be back right after this. We're looking at Shazam from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment on 4K Ultra HD, Blu-ray, and digital. Shazam is one of the best DC movies I've seen, hands down, in years. I liked Aquaman, I liked Justice League, Batman v Superman, it was okay, but I think Shazam has been one of the best DC movies, hands down. In fact, this might be tied with Wonder Woman as my favorite DC movie ever. And I'm even putting that above the Batman Nolan trilogy. And I think that says a lot. This movie is fun. And it puts a lot of the joy in the superhero genre that I think is often missing. Because Shazam, the character, is genuinely stoked and happy to be a superhero. They're like, oh my god, I can do all these cool things. I can fly. And you really feel that joy throughout the movie. This is an origin story, which basically tells the story of orphan Billy Batson, who's been passed around from foster family to foster family, who's looking for his mom. But at the same time, he meets this wizard, I know, just follow me, who grants him the power of the Greek pantheon of gods. Shazam, like the strength of Hercules, the power of Zeus, the endurance of Atlas, stuff like that. And he has to fight another guy named Dr. Sylvania, who is the embodiment of the 7 deadly sins, which the wizard who gave Shazam his powers was trying to keep in check. And it's surprisingly cool. I mean, I never thought we'd live in an era of movie making where they could make a Shazam movie. I thought Shazam sucked for years. I always just thought he was Magic Superman. After seeing this, I am all in. Shazam is frigging awesome. And having Zachary Levi portray him with such joy and wonder, you genuinely buy into it, because you see this is a different type of superhero, because he's happy to be a superhero. He's like, look at all the cool shit that I can do. It's kind of like Spider-Man Homecoming in the beginning, where he's like, hey, Spider-Man, do a flip, and he does a flip on top of the building. Imagine that scene stretched out to a movie, but it never gets annoying. There's just something about this. There's one scene where he's on the steps of the Philadelphia Art Museum, I think, where he's doing like a busking show, and he's like, lightning with my hands, I'm doing lightning with my hands, and he's just shooting lightning the whole time to like the Rocky theme song. It's such a cool movie. There's 2 post-credit scenes with it, which are worth kind of sticking around for, so make sure you do that. Also, a DC bad guy I didn't expect they'd drag in, but evidently he's a Shazam mainstay named Mr. Mind, and I'll leave it at that. Special features on this. There's about a half-hour making of, which is pretty good. Turns out they shot this in my home area of Toronto, so go us, which is very cool, although they had to shoot the Philadelphia scene in Philadelphia. And you find out about that. You find out what kind of went into getting the lighting rig for the suit to work. There's also a gag reel. There's a featurette of just Zachary Levi goofing around. Evidently, he was a big cheerleader on set to get people to be happy, get the energy up. There's a little bit of a primer on the Shazam family, because it turns out there is the Marvel family, so to speak, who also pick up the powers of Shazam along the way. Overall, this is a really solid Blu-ray. I mean, the special features are good. Not the best I've seen in the superhero genre, but pretty good. Better than I've seen recently from other superhero movies. But the real reason to pick this up is the movie itself. This movie, like I said, is joy. It's big with superpowers. It's big. It's fun. And I really think you should add this to your collection, because you're going to have a fantastic time. I cannot wait for the sequel for this. Zachary Levi, you nailed Shazam. You were awesome as Chuck, but I think this will be the movie you get remembered for.
What makes you qualified to be a reporter? I'm willing to violate anyone's privacy for my personal gain and then claim with a straight face that the public has a right to know.
By the hand of Zeus, what manner of deviltry is this?
I love fake alien poop day.
Welcome back to TWIG, your flagship of stupidity. I'm Mike the Birdman Dodd, joined with Alex the producer, and it's time to break down the weird, wacky, the just plain fucked up things that happened on planet Earth this week. And, well, you've all seen the meme now. Evidently on September 20th, we're all going to invade Area 51 and go get us an alien. Several brands have jumped on board, such as Bud Light. Guy Fieri has offered to feed the aliens and ourselves if we do manage to invade the government compound. However, the Area 51 creator, the meme group, was started in a shitposting group on Facebook, has gathered over 1.7 million people that are now pledging to attend. The creator, Matty Roberts, has unveiled himself after listening to a Joe Rogan podcast, where I think he was listening to Joe Rogan talk to Bob Lazar, who's a noted alleged Area 51 ex-employee in the 90s. He used to be frequent guest on the Art Bell show and George Norrie. Anyway, it turns out, he says, it started out as just a pure stroke of imagination. It's funny. However, several popular celebrities such as Keanu Reeves and Chuck Norris have all pledged their intents to help.
Can Chuck Norris even walk anymore? He's like 80 something, and in that many years of doing roundhouse kicks,
he's got those kung fu stretch jeans. He's fucking ready for you,
right.
man.
He could probably go. And for all we know, Keanu is an alien. So,
he's the guy. Matty Roberts has received several messages though from people who are a little more than serious about doing it. And he's like, guys, it's just a joke. Please don't do it. As the Air Force has noted, they stand ready to deal with any threat to Area 51. However, though, it is kind of funny, though. I was watching ETC, otherwise known as Internet Today, with Elliot and Ricky. And they posted this thought, and I kind of wonder if this what might happen, because several of the surrounding hotels, motels, and other places you can stay have sold out. They have rooms booked. And they're even talking about getting food trucks there, talking about getting musicians out there. And they kind of wonder if this might turn into the next Burning Man. If this turns into something super successful, this could be a big boon for the tourist industry near Area 51.
Well, if there's anything sensitive there, they'll just move it already anyway.
Well, if there was anything sensitive there, it's long gone.
Well,
like,
if anything,
even if you got past the perimeter, Area 51 is still 20 miles down the road.
You know what it could be? It could be where they do interrogations and shit for terrorists and all that, and they don't want to let out that they're torturing people in there.
Well, the thought is, and it's been long held because it's so close to, I think, Nellis Air Force Base. This is where a lot of plane technology has been tested, stuff like the SR-71 and the stealth bomber, etc.
That would make sense. But or it could literally be a warehouse where they're storing a lot of just government documents and stuff that they don't want out.
Yeah, like it's likely nothing in all things. I mean, like we said in last week's show, the government's only acknowledged the existence of Area 51 in the last 10 years.
Or that's where the fucking Stargate is.
Wouldn't that be cool? But yeah, so obviously, whatever your plans are on September 21st, if you're actually going, I'd be very curious to hear from you, because there will be no shortage of vloggers and bloggers that go down to this thing, because, you know, people are actually going to show up. My guess is you might see a couple of thousand people not go to the perimeter, because I don't think people are that stupid, but you'll see them gather at one of the restaurants or hotels nearby. And it's going to be a huge party for like 3 days.
You know what I'm picturing in my brain? Hulk Hogan, Naruto running towards Area 51.
You can't get me, brother. I need Naruto
with his horrible back and injuries and all that. Or the Iron Sheik. All these old wrestlers with bandanas on, trying to hide their identities, but you just know who they are, just running at Area 51 Naruto style.
Which is funny. There actually is video of this guy, Matty Roberts, doing the Naruto run for the cameras, and he runs into a bush.
You know why that's what they do in those animes? The run like that?
Why?
The singular reason? Because they're cheap. Because they don't want to actually animate the arms running side by side.
So it's the old Filmation style.
Yes. Straight out and then draw lines to...
Not Filmation. Oh, what?
Yeah. Yeah, Filmation, Hanna-Barbera.
I was thinking Funimation, but say, no, you're right, Filmation. Yeah.
Yeah. It's literally hands out the side because they can draw, like, it's easier to draw lines showing wind going beside you than it is to actually show your arms running.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a way for cheap animation. I mean, that show has like 900 episodes. You think you want to draw people's arms running every single time? But that's literally what it is. But I love that that's become a thing, the Naruto arms.
So weird. So,
oh boy,
if some of you Twig listeners end up going, please let us know.
And film yourself doing it.
And film yourself doing it. Yeah, I would love to see footage of this.
We'll post that.
My next story is, it's weird because I think it's really, 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 really cool. I love science. I love archaeology. I think it's neat. Well, a piece of the Odyssey, Homer's Odyssey, was recently discovered on a clay tablet. A tablet found near a ruined temple of Zeus in the ancient city of Olympia has been dated back to Roman times. It is engraved with 13 verses of the poem recounting the adventures of the hero Odysseus after the fall of Troy. The tale was probably composed by Homer in the late 8th century BC. The exact date of the tablet still needs to be confirmed, but its discovery was a great archaeological, I can't pronounce this word, hieroglyphic, literary, and historical exhibit, the Greek Cultural Ministry said in a statement. Excavations to uncover the tablet took 3 years. The Odyssey is considered to be a seminal work in Western literature. The poem, spanning some 12,000 lines, tells the story of Odysseus, king of Ithaca, who spends 10 years trying to get home after participating in the fall of the kingdom of Troy. I think that's really cool, the fact that they found this clay tablet, and it's in such good shape they can still read it.
And it's not faked or anything.
Yeah, like that's legit. That's some Indiana Jones type shit.
That makes me think of when they found that jar that had that black sludge in it. And
yeah, they're like, yeah, this is just sewage runoff, guys. Don't drink it. I want the skeleton juice.
I love that one person said, I'll give you $20 if you drink it. I love that was the first comment. Right below that, somebody said, no, don't drink the dead people juice. This is how you get superpowers. And somebody said, no, this is how you get cancer or super villain powers.
Exactly. I've read this story before, and it doesn't work out well for the guy who drank it.
But I just love it. I'll give you $20 if you drink it. 3,000-year-old black sludge found in the tomb. But sorry, that's what I think of. I think, how long for somebody to say, I'll give you $10 if you lick the tablet?
Fuck, I'll do that.
You didn't want to lick you didn't even want to lick your Switch cartridges to taste how bitter they were.
Okay, that's fair.
If you won't lick that, you're not going to lick some, weird, I don't know, garbage taint black sludge.
Oh, we're still talking about the black sludge. Yeah, fuck that. I'm not touching that.
Oh, the tablet? Yeah, you can lick the tablet.
I'll lick the tablet all day. It's like eating out the Greek.
Is that what you call your girlfriend?
That's right, the Greek. Oh God, we're going to hell.
Olive oils and hair.
Oh dear. Moving on to my last story. This one is...
I'm sorry I broke myself.
This one's a little strange. So evidently, as you know, last month, The Conjuring, Annabelle Comes Home, entered theaters. Ooh, scary bullshit. Well, it turns out someone died. A 77-year-old British man was watching the movie at a theater and passed away. Bernard Channing, a 77-year-old tourist from Gedling, had went to see Annabelle Come Home last night while on holiday in Thailand. The women discovered him dead at the theater, who are said to have been shaken at discovering a dead body, and shouted for staff, who rushed into the room and called emergency services at 8 p.m. local time. Mr. Channing was pronounced dead inside the venue, and his covered body was taken away by a side door loaded into an ambulance. Resident Monthea, I can't pronounce her last name, who arrived at the cinema after the death, said the guests were, quote, very upset. It seems like you read about someone dying in a movie theater every couple of years.
Well, usually it's a pre-existing heart condition or something like that.
Yeah, it's not like the movie was so scary it killed him.
He was 70-something and he was vacationing in Thailand.
Yeah,
you sure it wasn't all like the and he was having.
I'm gonna have to cut that part out.
But in reality, like, it's very hot climate there. It's not just that. It's. I'm guessing it is probably humidity mixed with his age.
Or, yeah, just it was his time to go.
Which is true. I mean, being scared, having an elevated heart rate, especially, I don't know if I was in my late 70s, I don't think I would be seeing horror films in theaters.
If you're in good shape, like my grandfather, for example, he could probably handle it. Or, sorry, not my grandfather, my father-in-law, Dave. He could handle it.
No, that's true, but I mean, I don't think this is something that just comes out of the blue. I think this is a case of you have a pre-existing condition. Either that or ghost got them, one of the two.
Yeah, so Annabelle claims yet another victim. Anyway, guys, we're going to take a small break here on This Week in Geek, and Alex has a review this week of a headset you should probably check out. So we'll be back, guys, right after this, only on TWIG, the flagship of stupidity.
I recently had the opportunity to test out a new headset from LucidSound. Now, you may not know who they are in that they've popped up only in the last couple of years, but they're making real waves in the high-end, mid to high-end gaming headset audio game, sort of shaking things up from what the major competitors have been doing by offering like a premium product at a little bit cheaper price than the competition's offering. So I jumped at the chance to try them out because we've tried stuff that are in the lower to mid-range releases from other companies before, but we haven't tried something that's in the enthusiast level of like comfort and sound quality and everything, and that price range of in the $150 to $250 range. So I thought, okay, let's give it a go. Let's see if I can, give it a good shake and see if I can actually test everything out on it and see how it just works out in comparison to some of the cheaper headsets I've had before. So first and foremost, this is the LS41, which is a 7.1 simulated surround sound wireless gaming headset. It does have the option to go wired, but what it does basically is it has a little dongle that plugs into your computer. It's marketed specifically for the PS4, but it also works on the Xbox One X, and as well as a slew of other PC hardware, and it can work on mobile if you just plug it direct. It can work just even in like your regular CD player, whatever you'd like to use if you want to go wired. But to use the dongle, you're going to have to use basically PC or the Xbox One X or Xbox One in general, and then the PS4. So what does that do? Well, the dongle gives it the digital surround and gives it the wireless capabilities. So it can be set up to use DTSX. It can also use Dolby like headphone. It can also use the Windows Sonic for headphone, other virtualization software that basically simulates a surround sound. And in the past, I was never a fan of this, but it surprisingly works well with these newer headsets and the newer drivers. So it actually gives you the feeling of having more immersive surround. It's basically faking the stereo track into believing that it's surround by giving you a wider it's basically I could go into detail, super duper detail into it, but it's not going to bother because there's a lot of like perceptual sciences behind it on how you hear things versus what's actually there. In the past, people had tried to do surround sound headsets by putting basically 5 little speakers in your ears, and that would lower the quality while giving a true surround. It just always lowered the quality to like earbud quality. This gives you full over-the-ear headphones, good stereo sound, and then pretty good surround spacing if you have it set to the DTSX mode or like Dolby Atmos. Now, in trying the system basically on every single gaming system that I have, I did find the wireless, you got to make sure you don't have anything basically blocking it, or don't plug it into a back port of a system or a computer, because it can cut in and out depending on how much interference and how much other wireless stuff you got going on back there, which is just like any other wireless headset or Bluetooth. So plug it into a front port, and then it plugs, to get the full surround effect, you have to have an optical cable plugged into the optical port on the back of your system or your PC, and then plugs into that little dongle, and that gives you the digital surround, which is pretty cool. I would like to have seen it if it had not have to rely on that, but it's just sort of the nature of the beast to make sure it's compatible with every device. It just uses your standard optical connection that you've seen on basically any device that's been out for the last 30 years. So I'm okay with that. Again, not a super duper fan of that, but basically I have to ask one question. Does it really work well? And I found that it's probably one of the best sounding headsets I've ever used. On the mic end of it, it has a built-in mic, but it also has a boom mic that you can attach that basically increases the quality. It doesn't pick up just the room noise. It focuses it basically exactly where you've got the actual boom pointed. It also has on either side of the ear cups, you have a chat mixer that can turn up and down the chat and mic volume. It also has another on the left side of your head. It's actually the volume control up and down. And if you touch the left cone, it turns your headphones on and off. And the right cone, it turns off the mic and on. And then when it does that, you hear an audible sound. There's also EQ presets that let you have stereo, wide stereo, enhanced stereo for like movies and that, or the surround modes. Pretty sweet. I actually ended up using this a lot more just in pure stereo mode by plugging in the included micro adapter. It plugs into the bottom of the headset and then plugs into any device that uses a headphone jack, like your mobile phone, unless you have a new Apple. And that's always the way I test headphones to begin with, because that's the best quality. You're not losing anything in compression or wireless. And they're about as good as my Sennheisers, my 25-year-old Sennheisers that were easily more money than these cost when they first came out. So it's probably the best sounding headset I've used as far as audio quality ever. It's very flat. It doesn't have any emphasis on bass or treble. It lets you use whatever equalizer settings you want, and it's perfect. I'm probably going to use it as my main headphones for listening to music at home on my stereo system, on top of using it for gaming. I tried it out with the boom mic and with the room mic that's built in. The room mic picks up pretty much everything around you. The boom mic, it actually sounded pretty crisp and clear when I was using it for phone calls, as well as using it in gaming. So when you do have it plugged in, wired, it does turn off all the extra enhancement stuff. You can't really control the microphone mixing the same way. And if you're going to use this on an Xbox, you have to use you have to use the connector cable that you use for the headphones to plug into the controller, because it doesn't have built-in support. But in PS4, it's completely wireless. And same goes for PC. It's completely wireless. You don't have to worry about it that way. So, getting down to build quality, it's probably one of the best built. It's mostly metal. It has a leatherette sort of feel to it. Super cushioned headphone cone, like the covers. You can replace them if you need to. I have a very large head, and it fit on my head just fine. I wore them for hours and hours, and I never had any issues whatsoever with discomfort, sweating, or being too tight or anything. There's a very high-end premium feel to it. It does have 50mm drivers, so that's why you're getting the great sound clarity from it. And you get about, I would say, under high volume settings, I was getting about 10 hours or so on it, because it has a rechargeable battery built in. And usually those are off from what the manufacturer would actually say it lasts, because they go on low volume under this situation, this is what you get. But you're going to get at least 10 hours when I was using it. And now that was really putting it to the test. Inside the box, you also get a little carrying, a nice bag to carry your headphones around with you. And it has a little extra compartment to put all the little accessories. It also has a little rubberized plug that you can put into the boom spot on the microphone, so that you don't, get water or anything into it. It has about 30 feet of wireless range, and I found it cut out for me at about the 25 to 26 feet range. But again, that depends on your room settings and how things bounce off the walls and everything. So I was pretty impressed with it that way. The frequency response range is 20 hertz to 20,000 kilohertz. So basically on the high end of what you'd get on a good $200 or $300 headset. And I was pretty surprised at how it worked that way. So I'm very, very impressed. I'm going to be using them a lot over the next few weeks, because it take a while to break them in to make sure that they work exactly the way they're advertised. But pretty much right out of the box, they worked exactly as advertised. So I'm very, very happy with this. If you have any questions about it, you can just go to lucidsound.com/ls41.html, or just look up, on Google or on YouTube. Look up LS41. It's the 7.1 surround sound wireless gaming headset. Probably the best one I've ever used.
And thank you for joining us for this week's edition of TWIG. Like I said, we were really heavy on San Diego Comic-Con news this week. There were some other big announcements that I'm sure we missed. I'm sure you've heard them from The Nerdist or IO9 or whoever your other podcasters of choice are. Go check out their content. I'm sure they did a lot more in-depth stuff. I know we saw the trailer for Jay and Silent Bob reboots, which comes...
It looks bad. I'm still going to watch it. I don't know what it's like. Ever since Kevin Smith started smoking weed or something, I don't know. The quality of the film looks poor. It looks like it's filmed on a home camcorder. And the jokes don't look... It looks very forced. And
I like the fact that him and Ben Affleck made up. He did an interview with Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah, I still think I'm going to enjoy it. But the Clerks 2, this is not. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just sort of has this... I get the feeling... And also, stop putting his fucking daughter and everything. She's terrible.
I don't know. Quentin Tarantino cast her in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and that says something.
Yeah, but she's going to act...
Don't judge her by yoga hosers, of all things.
She's going to act better in a movie with a real director.
That's a fair point.
If I said... Here's the funny thing. I'm laughing because if I said that to Kevin Smith, he'd be like, that's fair. Because she's going to act different for Daddy than she is for... You know what I mean? Like, it looks kind of cheap. And I know they also showed off a trailer for Jason Mewes directed his first movie, too.
Mm-hmm.
And that one, I believe, is the last appearance of Stan Lee. Yeah.
Yep.
So cool. I'm gonna probably watch both of them. I just
I'll
don't know.
check them out.
Yeah.
I hope the Kevin Smith Roadshow comes to Toronto with the movie. I would hope so.
Well, I stopped listening to his podcast because he would talk about all these projects he's working on, and they would get canceled left and right. So what was the point?
Well, there's something. He said he was working on something he was going to announce at Comic-Con.
Where's the hockey miniseries he's been working on for 10 years? Hit somebody.
I don't know.
It was supposed to be a CBC. He said it was already set. It's like a 3-part miniseries, and it's going to have everybody he's ever worked with. And they were getting ready to shoot. Where the fuck did that go? That's like 3 years ago now.
I never even heard about that.
Yeah. And I haven't watched Yoga Hosers, and I didn't watch Tusk. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of his fans are also turned off by a lot of his work lately. So who knows? He's a great podcaster, but he's not very good at making movies anymore.
I definitely think his focus has definitely shifted. In fact, actually, one of the neat things I did find out that he was talking about, he did an interview with Entertainment Tonight, is he's going to read Clerks 3 at a theater near Red Bank. It was the same place there where they auditioned all the people for Clerks like 25 years ago to help that theater get some get some money. And he says, this is not the Clerks 3 that I would make now, because this ends on a very different note. After my heart attack, I only want to make movies that bring me joy. So
yeah, see, I also think since his heart attack, since he's gone crazy vegan, and I mean, like, his logic behind what he's doing doesn't make sense. Is all I'm going to say. He doesn't have to be a vegan to lead a healthy lifestyle. In fact, he's going to have to be taking extra supplements now for the rest of his life because of that. So that's a lifestyle choice that I don't agree with, but I don't know if he's not seemed the same in brain since he's had his heart attack from what he's been putting out there. It's like everything's all lovey-dovey and happy-go-lucky, but like, are you going to make movies or not?
Well, he's made his money. He doesn't have to.
That's true.
So
it is cool to see that he got everybody back.
Yeah, it is nice to see the old gang back together. Plus, he got Thor. So anyway, guys, we got stuff coming up on the site this week. I know I'm talking about Stranger Things on Nerds of the Third Power this week, which I'm recording on my wedding anniversary of all days. Go me. 8 years married now. I'm awesome. What do you got coming up this week?
I've probably got a Turd or Treasure. I'm not 100% sure because I'm traveling a bit. I've got some doctor's appointments on Wednesday. Friday, I'm visiting family for a few days. But I'm going to try to get some reviews out because I've got stuff. You know when you have stuff ready to go, but then you don't have time to actually release it?
Yeah.
That's sort of what I'm dealing with. But I do have the classic feed where we're putting up some of our classic interviews. I've got them basically scheduled out for the next couple of weeks. So there's some pretty cool stuff coming up, like the first interview you did with Lloyd Kaufman.
Oh, yeah.
You've got, I think the Kylie Bear one just came out, and we've got, I'm drawing a blank on her name, but she wrote a book series.
Laurel K. Hamilton?
Yes. And there's a few other ones too. So I wanted to make sure that they didn't get lost into the ether, because some of these are dating back, 12 years. And it's like, oh man, some of these are gold. Like going back and listening to them myself as I'm archiving them, I'm going, man, these are great. So they're perfect. So basically, the schedule I'm trying to keep to is have them come out Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursdays. And then we usually have Mondays is the Twig flagship show. Wednesdays will be when I have a Turtle Treasure out. And then we got Fridays and Saturdays for, any other show that we're putting out. Like if we do a prototype, or if we're doing a partnership show like Future Imperfect or Mayhem Mics, or when we syndicate like Nerd to the Third, that sort of stuff, that opens up Friday and Saturday for us.
Okay. Myself this week, I'm working on the Jack Ryan series, which was just released on Blu-ray last month. I also have the Godfather trilogy remastered on Blu-ray. I also have a bunch of Dungeons and Dragons books I have to look through, not including Ghosts of Saltmarsh, Acquisitions Incorporated, as well as the new Essentials box set. But I also got the new Alpha Quadrant book from Modiphius, so I'll be taking a look at that in the next little bit. So a lot of role-play stuff, a lot of movies, so I'll try and get those cleared out in the next few weeks. So anyway...
And what I actually have, because I didn't actually say what I have.
Oh, okay.
I have Dark Side of the Moon, which is not the Pink Floyd album. That is the horror sci-fi film that we threw a trailer up on Facebook and Twitter to show off, because it's one of those, sort of forgotten, originally direct-to-video. But remember when direct-to-video actually had a budget? It's like that, direct-to-video, but with a decent budget, and it's been remastered using a 4K transfer. Basically, in the near future, people are in space, and they come across an old Apollo mission shuttle that shouldn't be there, and horror ensues. I've got that to review. I've got, I believe this week, I'll be putting out the review for the new Fire Emblem game. Mm-hmm. We've also, what have I got on my end here? Home Sweet Home, which is from Mastiff Games, which is a horror game, so I'm fully expected to just be creeped out of my mind playing it. It has a VR mode. Unfortunately, I don't have VR, and neither do you. But that being said, it doesn't need to be played in VR mode. You can just play it in normal mode, and I'll still be terrified. And then on the other movie front, I have a couple things that I'm waiting on to come in the mail, and we have controllers that just came in from PDP that are the first Switch controllers, that they're wired Pro controllers that have an audio jack in them, so you can have your audio voice chat and headphones running through it, just like any other modern system that for some reason Nintendo doesn't seem to deem necessary in their main controllers. So these are the first officially licensed controllers to let you do that.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That'll be something to look forward to. So anyway, guys, as always, keep it locked here to ThisWeekInGeek.net for more great geek content. Check out our Twitters at BirdmanDodd, at ThisWeekInGeek, and yours is?
At Deathface Twig.
All right, guys. So until next time, we have been
Alex.
I've been Mike the Birdman Dodd saying live for your diehard, and as always, be cool, be kind, be careful. We'll catch you guys next week right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.
Well, that's our show. All right, here's the deal. Every time you watch my show, I will send you $40.
Checks will not be honored.
You've been listening to This Week in Geek, your source for guaranteed nonsense or your money back. Tune in next week for more info on the most important things you didn't need to know. Check out our website at thisweekingeek.net and subscribe to our podcast through iTunes or any podcatcher. If you'd like to comment on this episode, head over to this episode's post at thisweekingeek.net and leave a comment through Facebook Connect. Follow us on Twitter at thisweekingeek.net and follow our Instagram at twig_official_podcast. Social media not your thing? Send us an email at feedback@thisweekingeek.net. We'll see you next time, and remember,
lower your shields and surrender your listenership.
Just when you think this show is terrible, something wonderful happens.
What?
It ends.
I have to go.
Somewhere there is a crime happening.